Welcome everyone to another episode of StuTube. With this recent Bitcoin correction, a lot of people are once again quick to claim the bull market is over. So I want to take a deep breath, zoom out a little bit, and see what the heck is going on with the price, with some basic market structure and some of my favorite indicators as always. And also, as always, we will be checking in on some more degen timeframes and also take a peek at some altcoins, some memers, and so on. With that, let's start by zooming way out to the weekly chart here and take a look at Bitcoin to get an overall view of the health of the market before we carry on. If you saw my video I posted a couple days ago, I went over this. I want to go over it again because I know a lot of you probably have not seen it. Basically, I am open to the idea of a further downside correction. I don't want to bet too aggressively against the bulls at this point. Any shorts I'm taking are quite short-lived. I'm getting in, getting out kind of a thing. But basically, a pullback wouldn't be all too uncommon at this point, just because, I mean, a lot of you guys will recognize this, basically a failed break or a swing fail, liquidity grab, whatever you want to call this. But basically, we had our previous all-time high back here, and we have been struggling with that for the last few weeks as a little bit of resistance. And once again, we did wick above it very briefly there, but you can see that our weekly candle that closed about 5 or so days ago, you can see that after that wick up, we came back down and actually closed a red candle there. So that doesn't look all too good for Bitcoin, but really once we start testing those all-time high levels, I mean, FOMO is there. You're starting to see it on social media. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you're like me, a lot of random friends or people that you associate with, whatever, a lot of people are going to be all of a sudden asking you about crypto. So people are getting involved now that, people are talking about it and it looks sexy again now that we're getting near those all-time highs. Actually, technically broke all-time highs very briefly. But yeah, I just really don't see us just ending the market cycle here. I've been quite vocal as we were leading up to this level that I figure if we came towards this all-time high level, this red line, I figured we would struggle there for about a month or so. And really at this point, it's been almost 3 weeks. Basically, my reasoning for that is just, it reminds me everything in the market across social media, in the charts and everything. This area here reminds me so much of what the space felt like back at these levels here. And just to zoom out a little bit, that was when we battled with our all-time highs from the previous market cycle for about a month or so. It was on the 5th week that we actually ended up breaking out and going for that big rip to the upside. But before that, I mean, I've been basically all my streams recently, I've been talking about that, whenever we got these weekly candle closes above the 618 rejection, and I know this is repetitive for a lot of you guys who are in all my streams, but I think it's very important to just always go back and remember this and really drill it into our heads. And not to say that everything needs to happen or everything needs to repeat itself, but just previous market cycles, previous weekly charts in general, whenever we get those closes above that 618, it just seems like such a nice rip to the upside. And just to show you a few quick examples, we got it here, straight rip to the upside, got it here, straight rip to the upside, got it here, straight rip to the upside. And I mean, yes, we got those brief pullbacks, which I'm sure even back here, at every single one of these, whenever we started pulling back, I'm sure everyone was starting to claim, oh, that's it, that's the end kind of a thing. And, we're starting to see it again. But since we actually closed weekly candles above that level, not only closing above those levels, but just continuing on with our structure, right? We obviously had that very short-term rejection at that level. But once we got that weekly close above, I mean, that just changes structure because we now have a higher high, bringing up our confirmed higher low to this level. After that, we actually got another higher high, which brings our confirmed higher low up to this level. And that's why I have this green box outlined at this point. That's basically the structure that I want to see hold. Yes, we could get some sort of a wick below, but ideally, I don't really want to see a candle body close below that, well, right around 50K. Nice round number too. Obviously varies a little bit, but very close to that 50K, all the way up towards 53. And as we've seen in previous cycles before, we have seen pullbacks let's just say even this cycle back here, we did come back and retest that 618 after breaking above it. So absolutely, that's still on the cards. It could be a thing. Doesn't have to be. Maybe we just test some of these, the 886, the 786, which we've already done with the 886. I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that we are going to go a little bit lower, but I mean, that could take, a week or even a few weeks to do that. But obviously the market doesn't give a shit about my opinion or my feelings, so it's going to do what it's going to do. But as it stands, I mean, long-term and midterm, I am very bullish on this chart right now, just because, like I said, we just keep staircasing higher, breaking higher highs, setting higher lows. And until that changes, my opinion is going to remain the same. But like I said, it's good to be cautious, good to be aware of potential scenarios, because as we test these all-time highs, like I was just talking about, it's very easy for FOMO to take the wheel and to drive you to making poor decisions, basically. So just understand that at this, even though it is all-time highs and there is a lot of FOMO in the space, there's just always those, we are at resistance. Let's just put it that way. We're at a very strong level of resistance because it's the all-time high previously. So just open to a lot of different things. And that's where I like to use some indicators and that sort of thing to kind of help me define where the trend is. And I'll go into that in a little bit. But as it stands right now, I mean, we still have this big, beautiful green money flow cloud. So, I mean, there is still a lot of buying pressure in the markets. Yes, we are getting bright red with this indicator up here. We still don't have another bearish pivotal point yet. So, I mean, not even looking all that overextended yet. So, yeah, we're going to have to see what happens. This weekly chart, like I said, yeah, I think it's possible we pull back a little bit, but as it stands, I'm still quite bullish about this. And I mean, if the weekly chart does pull back to levels like this, and it ends up taking a month or even 2 months to get there, a lot of people, again, are going to be shitting their pants thinking that this market cycle is over. Yet if this was any other time frame chart, let's pretend, just pretend these numbers on the side aren't here. Let's just say this is the structure looking at a 5-minute chart, a 1-hour chart, a 4-hour chart, anything like that. If we saw this kind of price action, nobody would blink at that. I mean, that would just be so common to see, but people have a really hard time, especially in crypto, being patient because we're used to things moving so drastic and so fast. And yeah, as it stands right now, I just think that there's nothing to worry about. Just a healthy correction would be totally normal in my opinion. So that's kind of where I stand on the weekly chart. As far as zooming in, I'm just going to slowly start zooming in here. Let's take a look at the daily chart here. Bring up a few indicators. This is absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite strategies is basically looking at the trend collection indicator, and I've been teaching a few people about that recently, and as well talking about it on my streams and in my videos. But basically, I mean, look at this beautiful buy trend on the daily. Anytime we came towards this level, even though we broke it a couple of times, you can see that there was just such an obvious uptrend, and for the most part, anytime you would have been buying along that trend, it's just been beautiful opportunities. And what I like to do with these indicators is I like to match up. My favorite indicators are the trend dynamic and the trend collection. I usually have both of those on at the same time, but I really like to see a couple of things lining up. One is an old strategy. A lot of you guys who have been here with me for the last couple of years on this channel, you guys know that I absolutely love watching these reversal warnings, which is these yellow W's, just seeing which way they are trending. I find that it can draw your eye to just pointing out the trend, which way maybe we should be looking at trading this market. So I like to see that, we have all these W's just higher, higher, just a series of higher highs. And as well going with that, we have this buy signal. So absolutely beautiful to see that from the indicators like that. One of my favorite strategies, even when trading shorter time frames, it's something that I really like to see. And even it's very small, but we might be able to tell here. We do technically even have a higher buy signal. Here we obviously have this buy signal. We have a higher buy signal. and this one is very slightly higher buy signal. So when you see the buy signals are obviously trending to the upside, that's really how I really like to use the indicators that we are provided with in this group, you guys. Is it's not so much that I take every single individual signal as set in stone or anything like that, but what I really like to do is notice which way the signals are trending, so that when I am picking my entries, I just know that, hey, the indicator as confluence is showing that, hey, it agrees, the trend is trading in whatever direction, right? So this is a beautiful thing on the daily chart here. Zooming in a little further, let's check out the 4-hour chart. This is where things do kind of agree with what I was talking about a potential pullback, right? I mean, interesting here, we can see we had, again, those higher trending W's. Look, just every single one, just higher, 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 higher. Anytime we came down to that buy trend, just absolutely phenomenal entries there. But now what we do have a sell signal. We do have these W's trending to the downside, and this is a 4-hour chart. So just something to be a little bit cautious of there, you guys, that it is obviously something to be a little bit, just a little bit of a warning here. Anytime these W's change directions like this, I take it as a little bit of a warning, and then you getting that sell signal with it. I mean, once again, guys, even though this doesn't have to last, anytime we have those downward sloping W's and we have the sell signal lining up, I mean, those that you had, these are 4-hour candles. You had several days to enter beautiful short looking at that type of a trade setup using these indicators. And now we just basically came back, still setting lower low W's, came back, testing that sell trend, and so far it looks like we're getting rejected. I mean, anything can reverse quite quickly. One early warning shot that we have on the 4-hour here, that I would say maybe we are going to see a reversal soon, is just that we had this low, we then set a lower low, and technically another lower low. This would be our confirmed lower high, and we did in fact break that level. So we don't have a series of higher highs yet, so I wouldn't say there's an obvious trend there, but this is just a little bit of a bullish warning here, in my opinion. So this is something where, looking for entries, maybe we are going to see some sort of a pullback, even if we are going to reverse here. Something I would like to watch for would be Fibonacci's. We have that break in structure, pulling a Fibonacci from the bottom here to where we've topped out so far. And you guys know that my favorite Fibonacci pocket is that 786, 886 Fib pocket. So, if we get down towards this level, I would absolutely be, me personally anyways, I will be looking for any reason to take along there on shorter time frames. I'm not much for trading longer time frames. I know a 4-hour is kind of where I'm looking at a medium term type of setup. But me personally, I like to trade more the 1 minute, the 5 minute, maybe up to like the 1 hour. But I am a bit of a degen like that, so everyone has their own methods. But that's just kind of some structure that I am looking at this point. So the market's definitely at an interesting point here. But I would feel a lot better if all of a sudden we start seeing W's trending to the upside, or we reclaim this blue line, flip it back pink, and get a higher buy signal. I mean, we haven't had one of these signals in such a long time. When does this goes back to a couple months at this point. So a very strong trend there. So it would be interesting if we got some sort of a higher buy signal and W's start trending to the upside again. I'm going to get extremely bullish once again. So that's the 4-hour chart. Let's zoom in a little bit further yet. I will take a look at the 1-hour chart. This is something I was looking at in my video 2 days ago. What do we got going on here? Interesting. We do have a buy signal, but I don't like that. It is a lower buy signal, right? So this indicator is still trending to the downside. We do have this higher low W, but the top W's are not corresponding with that. I kind of like all these things to be lining up with each other just for that added confluence. But you can see that we had this W, this high W, lower high W, and that's really the last bearish reversal warning we've got from there. So those are still, in fact, trending to the downside. And with that trending to the downside, the buy signals are trending to the downside. Yes, we have this warning of higher low W, but it's something I don't want to take all too serious on its own yet. I do think that there's potential to come back down a little further, for one, because, like I said, those Fibonacci levels, I think it would make a lot of sense to test these levels down here once again. But again, I would just feel a lot more okay with playing the bullish side of things if everything was kind of lining up with these indicators. And again, just looking at them for that added confluence to spot which way the trend is actually moving. And like I said, right now, sell, lower sell. So yeah, as it stands right now, I mean, if you were kind of bearish right now and you wanted to get into more short positions, something I would be looking for is, you know, we did lose this buy trend again. It hasn't flipped yet. It's early to call this, but if we end up seeing a lower sell signal here and W's start trending to the downside again, I think it would be a good opportunity to sell or take some shorts along the trend as it trails down. But we're going to have to see how that plays out at this point, obviously. Let's zoom right in here, get into the 5 minutes, see what we can see here. What do we got here? So yeah, we actually, well, these sell signals, basically a double top with these sell signals. Same with these buy signals. I mean, we don't have a very obvious trend here. I guess the last one would be, we did have this sell, lower sell, basically, you know, same level sell, whatever. W's still trending to the downside. We have this little double W here, but I mean, the overall view here when I'm looking at it, I mean, it just really looks like these W's are all trending to the downside, and same with on the top side, right? We have a high, we have a lower high W here. So the indicators are still looking a little bit bearish to me. I would like to see some sort of a reversal on those, and that's, like I just went over, everything from the 4 hour down to the 5 minute. They're all kind of trending the same direction right now, so I just don't want to get too bullish quite yet. So that's basically my thoughts when using these indicators and kind of how I like to spot the trend like that. Oh, Ronald, welcome. You made it. Good to see you. Yeah, how is everyone else feeling about the market? I'm just kind of curious to hear your opinions. Anything that's really caught your eye, whether you're mega bullish, mega bearish, anything like that. As it stands right now, I'm really on the fence right now, you guys. Like I said, I mean, we do, even on the 5 minute, we have this structure break, right? We had, well, basically this low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high is the exact same area, so nothing changes there. So that green line there is kind of the structure break I'm looking at. So yeah, absolutely, maybe we come back, pull down to these fibs, for example, and end up getting some sort of a bounce. But I really like to line up my fibs with the trending indicators as well, just for, again, I sound like a broken record, but just looking for that confluence, looking for that second opinion of which way I should be trading the market. And yeah, just noticing which way the signals are trending can be super helpful for that sort of a thing. So, you know, if we saw some sort of a lower high W come in right here, I would have absolutely been itching to short that, but you don't always get what you want, right? Yeah, exactly. It helps trading the chart, not the news. That's a very good point, and I have been very vocal about that over the last few years. You know, even going back towards this area, I remember getting a lot of grief and a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say that, everyone's very nice, but just hearing how bearish people were at these levels, and it makes sense because, you know, the trend is your friend, but I was quite vocal that, you know, I was seeing some things in the chart and with just things that were happening in the market and just looking for different ways that things could be analyzed, I was getting quite bullish at this point. And this is when I started calling for a $48,000 target. And I remember a lot of people thinking I was absolutely nuts. It did take a little longer than I originally thought. I thought it was going to happen more towards July here. It ended up taking, an extra 6 months or whatever. But the target was there. It was hit eventually. And the reason so many people were bearish down here is, this is when FTX collapsed. I want to say it was somewhere in here where, Silicon Valley, all those sorts of things, all those banks were going under. There was a whole bunch of very bearish things happening in the economy. But I don't know. I was just kind of looking at that, when you start looking at the news and trying to play the news, understand that is another place where you can make mistakes. If you're just analyzing the chart, yeah, absolutely, you can still make mistakes. But if you're analyzing the news and the charts, you now have two places where you can make very critical mistakes. And just because something makes sense in your own mind doesn't necessarily mean that that's how it's going to play out. A lot of things, COVID was a good example. Everyone thought that, job security is out the window. Nobody's going to have any money to buy Bitcoin and so on. Well, the market went absolutely nuts after we had that final COVID flush out, because obviously money printer turns on and that sort of thing. So just a lot of things can happen in the overall economy or the general economy that you might just overlook when you're trying to analyze it. So that's why I stick to the charts. I'm a simple guy. I keep my trading strategies simple. Let's put it that way. So so as it stands right now, you're going to see a lot of people claiming this is the top for whatever reason. I'm just not buying it personally. Again, I really do think that there's absolutely a good possibility we drop down further. But as it stands right now, the market structure, in my opinion, is still very bullish. Other than this, this fake out, this liquidity grab, that's, again, why I think we could go down a bit. But just the way we're staircasing, I think this rally is just showing strength time and time again. And every single time we see some sort of a correction, everyone is very, very quick to start claiming that's the end. So just understand that is all. As it stands right now, the 5 minute, let's get right into the 1 minute. Let's start getting in degen mode, because we are going to be checking out some real shit coins. We're going to hop into some memers and see, again, if you guys have any altcoin requests, I can absolutely look at things. If you're going to request altcoins, all I ask is please let me know which exchange chart you're looking at and what time frame, just so we're kind of on the same page when I look into it. But any altcoin, meme coin, whatever you want me to look at, I can absolutely do that. But before we do that, let's hop right into the 1 minute chart here. Let's really get a good zoom in of what's going on here. As it stands right now, we have these W's trending to the downside. We have this sell signal. Just as far as scalps go, these have been decent entries right along here. Obviously taking profits quickly, because if you are trading the 1 minute, I can't stress this enough. If you're trading the 1 minute, trade the 1 minute. Take profits on the 1 minute. You're not entering a position on the 1 minute chart and hoping to catch a 4 hour move or a 1 hour move, even a 5 minute move. Basically, my rule of thumb, and this is not set in stone, this is not a structured rule that I have, but just kind of a bit of a guideline just to remind myself, is a 10 candle rule. If I'm trading the 1 minute chart, understand that there's a good chance I am taking profits within 5 minutes to 10 minutes. If I'm trading the 5 minute chart, there's a good chance I'm taking profits within half hour to an hour. 1 hour chart, let's say 4 hours to 12 hours kind of a thing. So I just like to kind of keep that rule or that guideline in my head just as a reminder, because it's so easy to get greedy. And I think that's really why most people really struggle at trading the shorter time frames, is because they're always looking for too big of a move. Just assuming that, hey, I've only been in this position for 5 minutes. I shouldn't be taking profits yet. This thing's going to it's going exactly how I thought it was going to. But basically, I'm always looking for reasons to get out of my position. If I was taking a sell signal like this, when I start getting W's like this, I am absolutely considering taking profits. And yeah, sometimes you don't get the size of profits that you want, but just to protect myself, I'm always very quick to start downsizing my positions. Right now, one thing stopping me from taking a short right now, I like that the W's are trending down. I like that I have this sell signal. I like that we're right along this sell trend. What I don't like is, again, we have a higher sell signal. So technically the sell signal's not so much agreeing with the others. So I kind of like, a few things lining up together basically before I want to pull the trigger here. So I did end up, my most recent trade was actually, I shared it with somebody that's in my mentorship right now. I did end up taking a long position here. And I was already, where was I? I think I was somewhere in here where I ended up, actually, it might have even been up here. I ended up closing a quarter of my position because I'm trading with 69x leverage when I'm trading the 1 minute chart. And again, just remembering to take profits quickly. So basically, what I had here was I had higher trending buy signals. I had higher trending W's. And we came back down to this trend and got very close to it. So I ended up taking a position. I forget what it was. It was like 65.493 or something. I can't remember the exact number now. I got stopped out on the rest of it. But just one of those times where, I took a quick scalp on the 1 minute because the buy signals were lining up. The W's were lining up. And yeah, that's just kind of one of the strategies I like to use with the indicators. So maybe this would turn into a beautiful scalp short. Absolutely possible. I just don't have all the criteria that I want at this point. So we're going to have to see what happens. Either I would like to see a higher buy signal come into play and then see W's start trending to the upside again. Or I would also be okay with seeing a buy signal come into play and then a lower sell signal with the trending W's still to the downside. I would love to enter a position on something like that as well. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. You are talking about me. What's that for? Looking for a short-term setup and expecting way too big of profits, I'm guessing. Yeah, and honestly, you're not alone. Like I said, I think that is basically what most people struggle with. And this is going to sound silly, but I'm sure almost all of you guys can relate. Getting into a winning position is actually very easy. It happens all the time where you are in a beautiful winning position. The hardest thing in trading, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree with this, absolute hardest thing in trading is taking profits. You can be in a profit, but to actually hit that red button or green button, depending which way you're trading, it's very hard. It's very easy to get greedy, and that's why I like to have that guideline of about 10 candles. Just, does it make sense that I should be taking profits yet? Oh, I entered on a 1 minute. It's been about 10 minutes. Yeah, maybe it is a good idea to start taking profits. The W's change directions or something like that, right? So yeah, you're not alone. I truly believe 90% of traders, that is their biggest issue. I could be absolutely wrong on that, but that's just my opinion. I can absolutely share my settings on my trend dynamics. Trend dynamics, I actually basically only use the reversal warnings, other than inverted colors. That's just something that I prefer personally. Reversal warnings, those yellow W's, that's basically all I use on that. I like to keep my charts fairly clean. So yeah, I just don't have much on there. The rest of everything here is actually the trend collection. I will share that as well. Go into my settings here. The only thing I did for these settings, I didn't do anything with any of this. All I did is, since I am more of a scalper, I said optimized presets scalp, and I clicked enable. So the indicator automatically configured it for me. Whatever trading or whatever time frame I'm on, it's automatically configuring it for that time frame. So there is absolutely a whole bunch of things you can customize with these indicators. That's just kind of how I started using this trend collection, and I've been really liking it just with the strategy I came up with. So super easy to set up there. Yeah, absolutely, Ronald. Take your profits on the lower time frame Stuber fibs. That is absolutely something I do. If if I am figure that I caught a bit of a swing, or even if it's I just kind of spot with my eye that hey, we're trading in whatever range, I often will pull a fib from the opposite direction and look for those 786, 886, just because whether or not the structure agrees, just so often those Fibonacci levels are respected that I will always look to at least take partial profits if I can get to those fibs. That would be, for example, just in case that doesn't make sense, let's just say I ended up taking a long position down here for whatever caught my eye. Actually, would you look at that? I don't necessarily consider this one valid because we're actually in a bigger range because we never did break this high back here. But as far as this mini range goes, we did just kind of staircase up here where we ended up topping out here. Just pulling a fib with this little range here. Let's just pretend I entered a long position on this 786. I would be looking at taking profits at this level up here. You're probably asking yourself, what is the 214 fib? It's actually very close to pulling the opposite fib and looking at the 786. So if I were to pull a fib looking for resistance rather than support, pulling it from the top of the swing to where we bottomed out so far, you can see it actually front runs it very slightly, but the 786 is here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with this fib, and I just have it there as a constant reminder. So yeah, absolutely. If I was in a long from down here, I would absolutely be closing quarter to probably more like half of my position when I got up to these levels. Because don't get me wrong, I very rarely, and I'm pretty vocal about this in the group, very rarely will I close an entire position because, I mean, runner positions are what really can really make a difference in your portfolio. Those running positions can become very powerful. I don't kind of going back to people looking for those bigger moves. Let's just say, I like to say, people looking for those home run trades, right? I'm sure you've heard that a million times. I'm not banking on those home run trades. I always like to trade the range first, so I am taking profits in case the range doesn't break, right? Generally speaking, the markets are ranging a lot more than they're trending. So that being said, when I enter positions, I'm always trying to take partial profits within that range, even if it's not as much as I'm hoping for. It helps reduce risk. It just helps you keep a clear head. Because you're not overexposed and stuff like that. You're remembering to pay yourself a little bit. But if that home run pitch is thrown, that's why I like to leave, at least half my position open. Is, I will absolutely play that range. But if we get that breakout, I still want some on the table. I don't want to have to enter a new position with that breakout because breakout positions do have their own risk involved. I'd say breakout trades are actually quite risky because of how often we see those liquidity grabs, those swing fail patterns, whatever you want to call them, right? So, yeah, looking at this, I am glad that I never took that short because the sell signals weren't lining up with my idea there. So as you can see, that can just be a powerful thing. Yeah, you absolutely could have caught a little profit if you just looked for one quick scalp here kind of a thing. But that's not what I was interested with at the time. So yeah, hopefully all that makes sense so far. So true on profit taking. Yep, 100%. I just assume you mean that it's the hardest thing to do. Yeah, it's so easy to get greedy in this market, especially when when you're looking at social media, you're looking at people, even in this group, even myself. Like I post some very large percentage wins because I'm trading with high leverage and that sort of thing. Understand that I have been trading with leverage for several years and I have a good understanding of using it. And I understand that if my leverage is going up, I can change my margin amount because I mean, as the markets get more volatile, I like to turn down the leverage. As they kind of get a little more stagnant, I like to up the leverage just because you have tighter invalidation levels and that sort of thing. But I understand that you see somebody posting, a 69x trade or a 100x trade or anything like that. It's easy to want to do the same, and you get that FOMO. And that's not a good mindset to have. Just focus on your own trading and what works for you. I personally never even started using leverage until I had been trading for a year and a half or 2 years or something like that. Leverage is obviously very dangerous. Trading shorter time frames is very dangerous because it leads to over trading, revenge trading, over leveraging. It can just send you into a downward spiral. So just all things that I want to bring to your attention as far as risk management goes, you guys. Yeah, remember, StuTube has scalped thousands and thousands of times, so I imagine he can eyeball scalps and trades on blank charts if he wants. Absolutely. I was joking about this with a couple people, Ronald, that I have become, like I'm saying it, I have damn near become autistic when it comes to the Stuber fib setups. I can look at buildings downtown or look at trees outside and be like, oh yeah, that tree to the right of that one is definitely a 786 fib. If I were to pull a fib top to bottom on that taller one next to it, like, you just see them all over the place. And that goes for, the 1 minute chart, the 4 hour chart, whatever. Like, the more you look for certain setups, you just start to see them, and whether or not you even map them out, you just kind of know that they're in the ballpark, right? So that's exactly it. I mean, I could sit here and walk you through one of my trade setups, several times, but until you actually, I'm going to call it muscle memory, right? I like to compare trading to skateboarding because that's something I've done for over 20 years, and it's a very hard thing to do for a lot of people. I could tell somebody 1,000 times how to do a kickflip on a skateboard or a backflip on a snowboard, and you still, even though you have the knowledge of how to do it, you won't really get it until you have that muscle memory. And reading the charts is very much the same. Consider it your brain muscle memory, whatever. It's very much a thing. So we could totally have the same charts, the same indicators, the same settings on absolutely everything, and I guarantee most of us would trade the market completely different. And that will bring me to my next point of why I think back testing is so important, because we can see things very different from one another. So you want to make sure that you're kind of trading what works for you, what your eye is easier to pick up, right? Oh yeah, interesting. We already got this higher buy signal. I would like to see the W's start trending to the upside as well. So yeah, just that was a great live example of using these indicators as risk management and how I like to use them as confluence, right? I just never had the sell signals lining up with one another and avoided that trade, which I absolutely would have got stopped out on at this point. Yeah, surfing was like that for you. Does anyone have any questions about anything I've gone over so far? Everything clear as mud? Everything making sense? I was going to take a look at some meme coins for a little bit here. Holy smokes, we're already been going for 40 or 45 minutes here. Time flies when you're having fun. Ooh, good question. How often does volume come into play for you? this is going to be funny, and I probably should, most people would consider this a big frowny, but I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really look at the volume. I think it's another thing that can be misanalyzed, although I think volume coming into the market, it is important, but I'd rather just see what side of the coin the volume is on. That's where I'm saying like this money flow cloud, right? That's basically showing that there is buying volume in the market more so than selling, which we had back here. So I don't know. I just, because when you're looking at volume, I guess one thing is like, so I could be looking at an hour candle and see volume coming in and just assume it's going whichever direction that 1 hour candle is going. But all of that volume very well could have been in the opposite direction on a shorter time frame candle, for example. There's just ways to misanalyze that. Yes, there is, volume as far as like the volume weighted moving average, stuff like that. Absolutely, those are levels that end up getting reacted with quite often. But as far as actually looking for volume when entering a trade, aside from those levels, that's kind of the only way I consider reading volume, I guess. Like, if I pulled up a VWAP, for example, and it was showing that it was going something like this, and we got a reversal warning along it kind of a thing, yeah, I'm looking at it as more of a line of resistance, more so than volume itself, if that makes sense. Yeah, those volume delta candles, that's definitely something that's interesting. I should use those more, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, simple guy. I keep things quite simple. So even though we have this higher buy signal, once again, we just don't have everything lining up, right, guys? Because although, yes, we now have a higher buy signal, our W's are still trending to the downside. And that's on both sides of this. We have a lower high W coming into play. So I'm just not quite ready to pull the trigger on a long there either. Just kind of conflicting stories, right? So although there is nice tight invalidation, I personally don't use this part of the trend collection as far as where I put my stop loss, because quite often it gets just touched, where you'll maybe get even a little bit of, again, a bit of a swing fail where you just get a wick right below that, but closing candle bodies above. That's more so where I'm looking at a fake out kind of a play, and I'd be interested in longing something like that. But if I were taking a long at this point, which again, I'm not, if I was, basically, I like to have a little bit of a looser stop than what this indicator is saying. I'd probably more so be going past our previous pivotal point, or even down something like that. More so something like that. But that's just how I personally like to use the trend collection indicator when I'm using strategies like this. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing, right? There is already so much information on my chart right here with these couple of indicators that I think that something that a lot of traders also have issues with is they bring up so many trend lines and so many indicators that you start to go blind, and you can't even focus on what's actually happening. And then, eventually something that you had mapped out gets respected, and you can say, hey, look, what I mapped out here was respected absolutely perfect. Yeah, but how many of the things you mapped out weren't respected, kind of a thing. So that's where I like I said at the start of this, or going into my settings there, I like to keep a fairly clean chart. So that's why I only really have the W's and this trend collection, basically. But speaking of that, if you have a different signal that you prefer, let's say, with the trend dynamic here, can go into my settings. Let's say instead of the reversal warning, and this is just kind of going off how I use the W's, for example. Let's just say you like the TPs instead. I could be wrong on this. This is totally a blind shot because I don't use the TPs typically. I'm actually going to turn this guy off too. again, just looking for which way they're trending, right? And I mean, here's a perfect example. We have the TP signals trending to the downside, and it's pointing out a trend. So it doesn't matter what individual signals I'm using with the indicators. I'm very much so more interested in just noticing which way they are trending. That's me personally, anyways. Let's just, yeah, there we go. Oh, one more. Yeah, there we go. So far, it looks like this buy trend wants to hold, but again, don't have that confluence of the W's trending in the same direction. So, yes, we have that tight invalidation, but it's just risky is all. MDX trend collection showed a double W compared with your only a single W on BingX. Which exchange? And actually, that's the thing. I don't really need to bring it up. Is that different exchanges very well may have different signals with the indicators as well. So that can be a thing. I personally just kind of keep my charts on whatever exchange I'm actually trading on, just because if I start pulling up other exchange charts, let's say the Binance chart for Bitcoin, for example, my stop loss, my invalidation levels, my structure breaks, all that sort of thing can be very different on a different exchange, just because, you know, maybe the prices vary $20 or $30 or $100 or $200. I mean, I've seen it happen before. You know, if that kind of thing is happening, it makes it pretty hard to pick a proper stop loss and that sort of thing. All of a sudden you get wicked out and you think, oh, what the hell happened? My structure wasn't broken, but the prices were slightly different or something like that. So yeah, different charts can absolutely have different signals. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Like when I was trading Bitcoin on the MEXC exchange, I was using the MEXC charts. When I was trading on Bybit, I was using the Bybit charts. When I'm trading on BingX now, I'm using the BingX charts. So that's me personally. I know there's a lot of people who do like to check multiple, just for several different reasons. Just, again, I keep mine all fairly simple. I just bring up whatever chart I'm actually trading, basically. Yes, I can check out Lever as well as BRC20. Will BRC20 be on TradingView now? Oh, here we go. And the MEXC chart, or is there a different one? I'm not sure what would have the most trade history. BitGet. I don't see it on BitGet. Weird. I'm just going to bring up MEXC. Oh, looks like I was looking at it at one point. Oh, look at that. That's funny. I don't even remember looking at this chart, but I obviously had an interest in a Stuber fib there, and it absolutely played out. That's pretty funny. So yeah, as it stands right now, let's just pull a new fib because obviously we've run a little further. We are back down into that pocket. It's looking a little bit weak, but I mean, we're going to have to see what happens. I don't like, just as far as basic structure goes, we obviously had this low. We have a lower low. This would be our lower high on the trend. And although we did end up breaking it, you can see it was just a wick. We did end up getting shut down at those levels. That is a daily chart, so on shorter time frames, I'm sure it looks different, and I'm sure there was closes above that level. So maybe not all hope is lost. And in that case, I would actually consider changing my fib pull. Let's just say that, you know, on a shorter, let's actually look at the 4-hour chart. Yeah, 4-hour chart got some closes above that. So in that case, I'd be looking at pulling a fib something like this. And yeah, we basically got the full retrace. I don't like that we're actually closing candle bodies below that 886, 786, 886 pocket. I think that does show a little bit of weakness there. What I generally like to see is some sort of a wick down into these levels if it's going to get bought right back up and closing above the 786. So there is a bit of weakness there, but it is still technically holding. And you know what? Since these levels are so close, I think I would actually just keep my fib like this personally. And that actually looks a little bit better. We're holding the 886 a little bit better. Invalidation. I like to leave a little wiggle room because, again, those swing fails or liquidity grabs do happen below important structure like that. That's why I have this 115 fib in red. Just a reminder to leave some wiggle room with my stop loss. I usually even leave a little bit more than that when I'm entering trades. But that's why I have it there. Kind of like that 10 candle rule, right? It's just kind of a reminder for that general area. So yeah, on the 4-hour, let's see what the indicators are saying. We have, what's that? That sell signal is basically right in line. Buy signals still setting lower lows. W's are still trending to the downside. Yeah, the 4-hour there doesn't look too great to me, personally. Let's see what the 1-hour is saying. Just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, lower buy signal, lower sell signal. W's trending to the downside. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. We are near that support level. It's just looking a little bit weak to me. I don't know what the market cap is on this thing. Like, that's the thing, too, is when I'm trading spot, I'm usually a lot less picky. And I don't think this is the kind of thing I'd be trading with leverage anyways. So yeah, it looks a little bit weak at this point, but that can change very quickly, right? We could set some sort of a sell signal here, quickly invalidate it, set a higher buy signal, and then CW start trending to the upside. And then right there, I'm starting to think differently about the trend, basically. MEXC is cool. Yeah, you know what? Like, I really like the MEXC exchange. I'm even partnered with them, but I just stopped using them. There was quite a bit of FUD going around with them. People having a hard time withdrawing funds. I never did have any of those issues. I want to be clear about that. I'm not trying to FUD them. I just got a little spooked and wanted to take most of my stuff off there. I still have a little bit. I like having them around because they do have a lot of easy access to some shit coins. But as far as the majority of my trading, I'm more so using BingX now. Yeah, moving funds around with XRP. Yeah, I usually move funds around with like BNB or NEAR. Just personal preference. I mean, so many of those coins are so cheap to send now that they might vary a few cents, but as long as you're not trying to trade or move Ethereum, my God. Yeah, Tron works well too, super cheap. I don't really have a lot else to say about how is Bitcoin doing. Oh yeah, look at that. Good thing we never took that short, hey, Leggies? I do want to take a look at a few of the meme coins that I've been following lately. I know a lot of you guys are big into the meme coins right now, and oh man, it's been so fun. Fun and funny. One I've been looking at, and this one was actually playing out quite often, is there was so many times this Obima was moving, 50 to 100% in this nice little range here, even closer to 200% basically. Beautiful looking triangle. I'm kind of disappointed that it's looking weak. I was really hoping that we would have seen, a little bit of a breakout and then got basically a springboard off that sort of a setup. What are the fibs saying here? basically testing the 886 right now. So I mean, we are near support, but it is looking weak. I'll give it that. And guys, these meme coins, like, such low market caps as well. Like, this thing's only a $825,000 market cap, not even $1 million. Joel Rampuwell. This is the 1 hour chart, kind of the same thing, almost a $2 million market cap. This kind of looks like it's also forming a bit of a triangle. Like, if it does get some kind of a pump, I'd be watching resistance, something like that. I do hold a little bit of it, and if we do get up near this line, I'll absolutely be looking to sell probably half of it, because even if we do get some kind of a breakout, I usually like at least 3 touch points before breaking out of and when I'm trading patterns like that, I like to have at least 3 touch points. Otherwise, if we just blast through right now, I'm going to think it's more likely that we're just going to fake out and come right back down. Obviously, with these things, anything can happen, and it does not take much money to move them. That's just the way I trade basic chart patterns, basically. Bonk with Hat, Biff. This one I have mentioned in the Micro Gems chat a few times. I think this chart is absolutely beautiful. My only concern with that is with these meme coins, I honestly don't know if they can recover when they have a significant pullback. A lot of them do, but how likely is it? I don't know, to be honest. But what I do like is, so far, it is looking absolutely beautiful, and I was absolutely loading up. Well, basically the last few days I've been loading up on this one. And my reasoning for that, this is a 4 hour chart, you guys. So for these meme coins, this is only a $1.36 million market cap. So fuck all, really. We have this, basically we had this high, we set a higher high. Here's our higher low, or the basic support in this coin's existence. We're right at that horizontal support. And as well, we have broken a fairly significant downtrend. You know, we've had several touch points on this. Basically, these touch points, this touch point. Here we got very close. I guess it's not exact, though. Down here, respecting it again a little bit, bouncing down. And just seeing that downward trend break right at horizontal support like that, it's something that I'm willing to toss a little bit of change at, because, I mean, that's just an ideal setup in my opinion. Whether or not it survives this pullback, we'll have to see. I don't know what kind of fundamentals you can really expect with these kind of meme coins. But yeah, that chart looks beautiful to me. Licking Goat. This one probably hurts for a lot of you, myself included. It actually got listed last night on the MEXC exchange. Speaking of them having shitty coins on there, this thing only has not even a $250,000 market cap, so it would take next to no money to absolutely frickin' moon this thing. But obviously it doesn't have to happen. As it looks right now, it just kind of looks like it's dying a slow, painful death. But that being said, one of the last things I want to talk about is last week when I streamed with you guys, I had got into this coin. There was a $7,000 market cap. It was next to nothing. And I ended up getting in, oh man, I think it was right here or so. And while we were live streaming with each other, we got this rug basically. We basically came right back down. Oh, where are we here? Let me go back, because I know we were looking on the 5 minute. But that's just to show what can happen with these low cap coins, right? Is, yeah, it absolutely looked like we got rugged. And then what do you know? We wait about 6 days of just flatline price action, breaks a little bit of structure here, and just absolutely blows up. What was it? I think it was over a 20x from where it broke out from. Ended up pumping, yeah, 2,000%. So just something to remember, that anything can happen with these shitties, right? So it's kind of funny. I had totally admitted, or not admitted, just accepted that I had been rugged. It was kind of funny that it happened live. I was even I know I was even tweeting about it at some point. But yeah, basically got rugged, and then all of a sudden it just blows up out of nowhere last night. So just to show you what can happen with these. Bonk with hat looks mental. Be interesting to see if it sends. Yeah, exactly. Just an absolutely beautiful chart in my opinion. I'm probably going to buy a little more, to be honest, because I mean, even if it retests all-time highs, what is that from here? A 10x? Not saying it has to happen. We could absolutely get shut down at any point, but the potential at a 10x or, you know, maybe all-time highs. Who knows what's going to happen with... It kind of depends what Bitcoin does, what the health of the market does, if the market gets excited into meme coins again and stuff like that. So, I mean, this thing just looks primed. It's just waiting for that green light to send it, in my opinion. Can you set limit TPs on dexes? Yes. On Jupiter, I know with the Phantom wallet, I know you're able to set take profits and limit orders. And I think they're even starting perpetuals on Jupiter, which is interesting. I don't know how that's all going to work. But yes, you can set limit orders and stuff like that. Penguin hat, that's one I haven't looked at yet. I did, I picked up, I think it was about an 11x with Peng. I ended up selling the rest of it for now. Got some good gains on that one, so... I don't know if you can set limit orders on Bird Eye or not. I haven't. I've started using it a little more. I've only done it on Jupiter though. Oh yeah, look at that buy signal trending. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have the W's trending yet, but that higher buy signal, beautiful. Starting Bird Eye soon. Yeah, it's been good. I like using Bird Eye. You find some real early shitties in there. You can limit. Oh, good. Good to know. I will check out that contract address after I end the stream here, and actually here, let's bring it up. What, oh boy, what do we go? Oh god, oh these meme coins, they are just ridiculous. Market cap 800,000. Ooh, you know, that's the kind of thing that I absolutely would not be surprised to see it take off, and especially that it wasn't an immediate pump and dump. It's actually building some structure. Obviously, anything can happen, but that does look interesting. I would consider buying a little baggie of that. In fact, I think I'm gonna... You know, we've been going for over an hour here. Unless there's any other questions, I think I might wrap up my stream and start uploading and buy a little bag of that. Yeah, any other last minute questions at all, you guys? Need a bag of weed. You and me both. Gotta top up. Safety supplies for the DGen shack. Performance enhancing drugs. Yeah, anyways, legends, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I always have way more fun talking about crypto with you guys because it's just always more fun talking with other people. Helps me keep a level head. It really helps me keep my thoughts in order, and just talking through how I'm approaching the market really makes it easier to not flip-flop ideas and stuff like that when I can actually talk myself through it. So kind of acts as a bit of a trading journal when I talk to you guys as well. So thank you for that. Hopefully you did find some of this stream useful. If you did appreciate it with my insights, it would do me a huge favor if you go back to my YouTube channel here and like this video once it's uploaded shortly, probably in about an hour or two. For those of you watching this on my YouTube channel a little bit later, if you are at all interested in my favorite indicators, which I've been showing my strategies on and that sort of thing, plus access to this VIP Discord with live streams such as these put on by not only myself, but also a handful of other very knowledgeable traders in the group, as well as if you need access to a no KYC exchange to get your DGen on, I have a couple links in the description down below for discounts and so on. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.